redefines.
This is Mitch, and welcome to 1000houses.com podcast, formerly known as the RE Investor Summit podcast, but we made a little switch here recently. I have the distinct privilege and honor of having the one and only Robert G. Allen on the other side of this microphone, and it's been a long, long road of using his principles. And a guy that changed my life in 1983. I was just telling him there was an exact pivot point when I started to take control of my life, and his book, Nothing Down, was right in the middle of it. Now, he's since written a lot of different books. Multiple streams of income you might recognize, Cracking the Millionaire Code, The 1 Minute Millionaire. But today we want to talk about this book that I think everyone comes to the conclusion. You can study all you want to about how to make money, but until you get your house, your inside your house correct, until you get yourself inside ready, all the external stuff you do doesn't work. So, Robert, that was a long introduction. I'm sorry, but I'm kind of excited to be with you today.
Thank you, Mitch. I'm honored that you invited me to be here today. It may be that 2020, when we're recording this, is going to be the time for somebody watching this right now. Like for you, and it was 1983. For me, it was 1974. So we all have these moments when things just change, and you struggle until you figure that out. So I guess you're right. I've written all these best-selling books. I've sold millions and millions of copies, and I've got thousands of success stories. But when I look back over what causes that success, as you were just saying, you're saying that you got to get the inside right first. And when I did this crazy challenge that I've been kind of famous for, I said, send me to any city, take away my wallet, give me a $100 bill. And in 72 hours, I'll buy an excellent piece of real estate using none of my own money. Well, the LA Times challenged me, took me with a reporter, flew me to San Francisco, got off the plane, took away my wallet, gave me 5 $20 bills, and said, you have 71 hours and 59 minutes. If you haven't bought a property in the next 3 days, your name will be mud in the Los Angeles Times. Now, what I was trying to prove is just exactly what you said, Mitch. I was trying to prove that wealth is not money. The banker thinks you need to have cash, credit, cash flow, and collateral. Those are the 4 C's. And if you're strong in all those 4 areas, the bank will lend you all the money you want. But if you're weak in any one of those areas, your credit sucks, or your income is not good, or whatever this COVID-19 situation has threw you upside down, then you don't have access to the money. And what I was trying to say by going to San Francisco is take away from me all that the banker thinks is money, and let me show you what wealth really is. And so they took away all the things. I had no credit, no cash, no job, nothing. I had $5 $20 bills. And I followed a system that we talk about in Nothing Down. That's what I'm more famous for really. But what I will hope to be famous for is what's in this book, which is the 4 maps of happy, successful people.
That's where it really starts, right? Because what you took out in the street in San Francisco was your mind. You took your mind out there, and your belief in yourself, and your conviction, and without all that stuff, it doesn't matter how pencil smart you are. It doesn't matter, because you're never going to get off square one. And
it's the 4 C's inside you. So it's your courage, it's your creativity, it's your chutzpah, it's your conviction, as you're just saying, it's your confidence. There's all kinds of those C words that are inside you, and it's all inside you. All wealth comes from inside you right now. And if you think you can't buy real estate with nothing down because you don't have any of the things that you think you need, what I was trying to prove by that challenge was it doesn't matter what you don't have, as long as you have the internal part. Now, most people don't have the internal part because they've been beaten down by life, and they've been told lots of lies about what success is. So when I went back over my career, the last book I wrote, was the Four Maps of Happy Successful People. It doesn't seem like much of a money book, but frankly, money, the techniques in Nothing Down or multiple streams of income, there are a lot of left brain techniques in there, and I call them system knowledge. It's like, step by step by step, what do you do here, there, and there? But in addition to system knowledge, you need people knowledge, like how do you negotiate? How do you persuade? How do you get somebody to trust you? That's important. That's usually not taught in any book. And then when it comes to the mindset knowledge, what happens on the inside of you, multiple streams of income, a very popular book, sold almost 1 million copies. I don't talk about mindset at all in that book. In Nothing Down, in this book, I don't hardly talk about mindset at all. Because most people think what they think they need is the system knowledge. Teach me how do I find a highly motivated seller, and how do I, they're always how. They always want to know how. And so the 4 maps is 4 maps that you draw every day. And by doing this, it actually builds your 4 C's. It builds your confidence. It builds your clarity. It builds your commitment. It builds your conviction. It builds you a step at a time. And so I'm going to teach that, if you give me a few minutes, Mitch.
Sure.
I want to teach that to everybody. So everybody get a blank piece of paper, because you're all going to do the same thing that you watch me do. In the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to draw a frowny face.
A frowny face.
And that's not very hard to do.
Even I can do that.
Everybody can do that. You just draw little slit eyes, because it's easier to draw them. It's faster to draw. I don't want anybody out there to say, well, I can't draw. If you can't draw that, you are in serious trouble. You can draw this, okay? And
we actually have emojis, so
yeah, you can do an emoji if you want to, but I actually physically want you to draw it. There's something magical happens when you physically draw the pictures I'm showing you how to do. Now, around this one, you're going to put a box. Around this one, you're going to put a box. So that's not hard to do. On this one, you're going to put a roof, because this is where you want to go. This is your dream lifestyle. Where you live, how you live, with whom you live, how much money you make, all that. This is your dream lifestyle. This is today. And so draw today's date, whatever today's date is for you. And then draw out 5 years from now. In this case, it'd be 2025, but actually I want you to do the actual date. I'd like you to literally pick the today's date. And so this is where you are today. And the reason there's no roof on your head here is because most people are stuck in a box of fear. They are surrounded by fear almost all the time. And therefore, since they are immersed in fear, they find it difficult to take action, because the fear holds them back. That's why procrastination is the biggest habit that most people have. They put it off because of these invisible fears. Sometimes they're conscious, sometimes they're unconscious, but they have lots of fears. There are 5 fears, FEARS: fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, and fear of success. And all of us have one of those or a combination of those, and those fears are expensive. They cost you a fortune. So what we got to do is we got to get outside of those fears. We got to get outside of that box. And therefore, I'm going to ask you to look over the wall of the fear that's holding you where you're at, and look and see where you want to be. And 5 years from now, how good do you want it? Don't ask how you're going to get there. Don't ask how you're going to get rid of the fear. None of those questions are important. The only important question is 7 questions that are, anybody in any grade school will know the questions. Question number 1 is, when do you want to live this lifestyle? When? And so I told you when, 5 years from today or sooner. I'm not going to go further than 5 years, but 5 years is a very realistic number. It's a number you could believe. And so it's all about belief. The question number 2 is, well, where? Where do you want to live? Where's your ideal lifestyle? Will you live in the same house, the same city, the same state, the same country? Where will you live? I'd like you to get more clear, because this map is called the clarity map. Clarity map is basically getting really clear on what it is you want. And this is when you're really clear on what you don't want. See, fear is what you don't want. And when you feel it, and when you're intensely involved in it, you're essentially sending a message to yourself, I don't want this. And you're never going to get where you want to go from a don't want mindset. I want you to be in a want mindset. What do I want? What is important to me? So when and where and how much? I want you to get specific. If you tell me you want to be financially free, great. Tell me how much. How much is that to you? Is that $1,000 a month? Is that $5,000 a month? Is that $50,000 a month? Your brain is a computer, so it needs a number. So what is the number? And most people, when they tell me, oh, I don't want to be financially free, well, the brain goes, I'm a computer. Type in financially free on your computer. What does it give you? Nothing. There's no number there. You need to compute. So how much? How much a month? Is that a monthly? Is it yearly? Is it weekly? Is it daily? You know, how much money? And I actually want you to pick a number, and I'm going to go totally against what everybody tells you. They always say, pick a big number. You got to think big. You got to dream big. And I think, baloney. Do not think big. I want you to think about 3 times bigger than what you earn right now. In other words, I want that number to be realistic enough in your mind where you don't go, that's BS. That's not possible.
I really love that.
2, 3, 4, 4, 5 times. Yeah. Why? Because I have so many people come up to me at seminars and they'll go, Bob, I want to make $1 million a week, you know. And do I know people who make $1 million a week? Yes, I do. I do. Is the person telling me that to me going to make $1 million a week? No, ain't never going to happen, because they are just out to lunch. And don't be out to lunch. I like you pick a realistic number, 2, 3, 4 times what you earn now, because that's believable. And you say, well, I don't want to be believable. I want to be really, really rich. Well, prove to me over the next year that you're actually doing your plan towards this realistic number, and then I'll give you the permission to add a 0 to it. But until you do, pick a number that's realistic. That's the third question. How much? Who is going to help you? Who is going to be there with you? Who is going to win when you win? Who is going to help you win? You know, you're the little red hen, so who's helping you make the bread? And tell me who they are. Who's important in your life, right? So where, when, why? Why do you want this? Why do you want this? Well, some people they are just born with that. They want to be wealthy. They just do. I do not understand why we do, but that was certainly in my programming. And it wasn't until I graduated from college to go get a job, to be an employee like my father was, that I finally understood that I wasn't an employee. And there are 2 kinds of people in the world, employees and entrepreneurs. Employee are security minded. They want to make small, slow money. Entrepreneurs are freedom minded, and they want to make big, fast money. And it's just their programming. It's just the way they are. They kind of come that way. And I don't know who you are. Can you make money as an employee? Can you become wealthy on the side? Yes, you can. You can make this your side hustle. But your mindset stops many employees because they won't take risks, because security is their fundamental value. So you just have to realize that. You know, who am I? Am I an employee or an entrepreneur? I was an entrepreneur. Nobody would hire me during that recession of when I graduated from college, and I sent out 30 letters to the 30 greatest corporations in the world: General Foods, General Mills, General Electric, General Motors, and generally everybody I could think of. And I got 30 rejection letters from these 30 major corporations. I still have them. And I was devastated. because I was an employee-minded. I'd been trained for my entire schooling to be employee-minded. Get a job, work for somebody else. But about a week into it, with those letters laying on my bed and looking at those letters all laid out in front of me, I had an epiphany. I had an aha. I got ticked off. I looked at those letters and I said, who are these people? I questioned who they were. And I said to myself, one day, I'll never forget saying this, one day I will earn more money than all 30 of the people who signed these letters to reject me. It was what an entrepreneur does. They love a challenge. And eventually it bubbles out of them. And until that moment, I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. But as soon as I knew that, as soon as I got pissed off, I said, one day. And so how will I do it? Well, I'd read a book, Think and Grow Rich, and it seems like that's a book everybody's read, and another one on Rick Nickerson on how to buy real estate. And I said, I'm going to take the $1,000 that my dad gave me for graduation, and I'm going to go buy a piece of real estate, and I'm going to become a millionaire. And therefore, without a job, without being hired by one of these corporations, I started buying my first property, second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 12th, 20th, 30th property, and became a millionaire in the next 3 to 5 years. I still can't remember when it happened, but I watched it. I did my financial statement. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't know who you are, but if you're an entrepreneur, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to tell you, what are you thinking? Why do you think you can do this? Why are you even listening to this guy? Why are you listening to us? What makes you think you can pull this off? I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to say, you can't do it. I'm going to tell you this, it's a crock. Although Mitch has bought thousands of properties, and I certainly have never bought that many, Frank Mitch, but I have students who bought thousands and thousands and thousands. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to go, I'm going to prove that Robert Allen wrong. I'm going to find that guy. I'm going to show him I could buy a property with nothing down. And I have had thousands of people come up to me, say, Robert, I bought my first property. Nothing down. So clarity is what this map is about. Clarity means, what do you want? What do you want? What? This is a very important question. What do you want? Do you want more money? Do you want more love in your life? Do you want more health? That's a body. You want more free time? I don't know, but just tell me, what do you want? Tell me what you want. Tell me what kind of lifestyle you want. Why is that important to you? What do you want? When do you want it? Where do you want it? Why do you want it? Who do you want it? And then, of course, the final question is, and how much do you want? How are you going to get it? And this is the weakest question, because everybody's path is different. Mitch's path is different than my path is different. You have your own circumstances, your own problems, your own income, your own relationships. I don't know what they are. All I know is, if you know clearly what you want, you're going to figure it out. You can use, the books that have been written about it. But remember, they are system knowledge. So I'll teach you systems. I'll teach you how to buy real estate. I'll tell you how to find bargain properties, how to fund those bargain properties, how to farm those bargain properties. Those are the 3 fundamental skills. But the bottom line is, if you don't have the courage to do it, if you don't have the mindset to do it, the heart to do it, the drive to do it, the why to do it, doesn't matter what I teach you. It doesn't matter how all the systems, and you might have heard them 1,000 times. The systems are pretty simple. They're pretty basic. It just means go frickin' do it. And that's really hard for a lot of people to do it, because they get stuck in this box. And the reason is they never get out of the box. I'm asking you to go out of your box every single day and draw this map. I want you to say to yourself, I want this kind of love in my life. I want this kind of health in my life. I want this kind of free time. I want this kind of money. This is important to me. This is what I want. And why do you want it? So, you should ask yourself that question. Why is it important for you to do this? to overcome the fear that slows you back, to get out of your box down here? What's going to force you to get out of it? Well, is it your family? Is it your just your pride? Is it you want to give back to the world? You don't have anything to give back yet, but you'd like to get something to give back. First of all, you're probably going to start off with a very selfish motive, selfish why, or it'll be a need why. I need this. I need this. I got a mortgage payment I got to pay. I need it. Then it's going to be I want this. It'll be very greedy, very personally oriented to you. And then ultimately, when you start really making the money and you realize that you have the secret now, you figured it out, you have to give it back. You have to share it with other people. So I wrote my book, and Mitch read it along with millions of other people, and many of them did it. And so why would I teach people my secrets? Why don't I keep all my secrets to myself so I can have all the bargain properties in America? Well, that was not my why. My why was I want to write a book. I want to share that message. I want other people to succeed like I succeeded. So eventually one day you will do this, and then you will write a book about it. And you will share it with other people. You'll tell other people about it. You can give it away for free. Yeah, there's his book. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, 1,000 houses. Holy smokes. Isn't that amazing?
That was a couple thousand houses ago, but anyways, who's counting? Who's counting, Robert?
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I do want to say it's the same transition. I started out wanting to make a lot of money. At some point, I figured out money wasn't the end all. It was just a part of the deal, and that there had to be a higher reason, a bigger reason for the whole thing. And if you're really lucky, you'll get to that part faster. So, and this is what you're talking about. So, I'm right with you.
Finishing up the map, there are actually two more pieces to the map. You could write down 50 things you want. And many people tell you should write down all your goals. You should write down 5,000 goals because it inspires your mind. I'm going to say just the exact opposite. I want you to clearly decide on three. Only three. Why? Because it forces you to get really clear. What is number 4? And you really have to decide. Is number 4, is it more important than number 3 to me? If it isn't number 3, then it's 0. I want 3 specific targeted objectives for you. 3, only 3. And I want you to commit to them and saying, I don't care what else happens in my life. I don't care how many children I have, what places I travel to in the world, what my golf score is, how much I weigh. I don't care. These 3 things are so important to me that I'm going to write them down every day. This is what I want. Now, it could be money things. It could be relationship things. It could be, health things. It could be time, places you want to travel. For me, they are business targets. I usually have three financial goals that I'm focusing on. I do my personal growth things in a different map. This map is really kind of like, how do I want my business life to be? So you write down 3 things and make sure they're specific. I mean, they've got to be number oriented. It's got to be numbers attached to them. And then I do want you to tell me, what don't you want? What are 3 things that you would, if you could eliminate with a magic wand right now? They're gone. What would you like to eliminate? Why do I bring that up? Because I was talking about the negative power of fear and how it keeps you stuck. Some people are motivated by not having something. They're motivated by lack. They're motivated by fear, by a nightmare. Some people are motivated by dreams, and some people are motivated by nightmares. They have a nightmare, they have a problem going on, it forces them out of their comfort zone, they go and they do, and they make it happen. We call that moving away from. In NLP, they call that the moving away from motivation. There are people who are motivated by moving towards something, towards a dream. about a third of the people you'll meet are motivated by moving away from what they don't want. Therefore, for that reason, I'm going to have you make sure you write down what it is you don't want and how badly you don't want it. Then I want you to write down 3 things that you do want. So there are 2 forces that are getting you out of this box. There's the force that pushes you, and usually it's something negative. It's something that's, you're tired of being broke, right? That's a negative motivation. I never will live in a neighborhood like this again. That's a negative motivation. My dad beat the crap out of me. I will not treat my kids that way. Never will I touch my children. That's a negative motivation. What is pushing you outside your box of fear? And then what is pulling you? What pulls you? And most people, they have the negative motivation, the fear, but they don't intensify this, because sometimes they think it's not realistic for me to have this kind of dream. Who am I to have this kind of a dream? And therefore, they don't even like to dream. And maybe because they've failed a bunch of times and they've dreamed and it didn't come out and they failed. And so they go, I don't even dare dream anymore. It's just so disappointing when I fail. Well, sorry, you're going to have to dream. Dream is really, really, really important. I need you to get clear. Just make sure your dream is more realistic. Usually that'll be helpful to you so that so you can reach it. Then I want you to sign your name to that. This is what I don't want. This is what I do want. This is why I want it. This is why it's important to me. And I want you to draw this map every day, at least for the next 30 days in a row. Now, the book, The 4 Maps of Highly Successful People, explains it with pictures that you can see like that. It shows you how I just drew what I just drew. That you can see what I drew. There's exactly that. It's easy to draw, and when you draw it every day, it forces you to get clear. And what will happen in the 30 days is that you will go, do I really want that? It will actually cause you to question. And sometimes you'll shift your priorities, and sometimes you'll throw some of them off completely. You eventually, over 30 days, you will settle in on, you know what? This is what I want, and I want it. And nobody is going to stop me.